readings, healings. So, we can get started now. So we didn't do the 10s. We'll do the 10s and then move on to the pages. My 10s. Okay. So, remember last class we were talking about how the 9s were right before we get into the mastery of things. They are the number of attainment. And the major arcana card for 9s, once we've mastered or have the opportunity to master because of the Hermit card, we get to move on to the next step. When 10s come in, 10s do represent a completion. And it represents that something is finished. And it depends on the circumstances. The finishing outcome could be positive or negative. But it does represent the end of something. Now, of course, the end results are going to have consequences or blessings with how we deal with it. And that comes from the law of karma and manifestation. So the 10s of each suit reflect the idea of finished, ended, or completed circumstances. So let's look at the 10 of Wands. And I'll show you mine. Oh my gosh. So do you know what happened? I was getting ready for class, and I went through all my cards, and I couldn't find the 10 of Wands anywhere. Now the light is flickering. Oh, and there's a spirit in my bedroom, in my door there. I can see it. So yeah, you're ready for your reading tomorrow.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't find the 10 of Wands anywhere. And I went through my deck like 5 times, and it took me like half an hour. And I'm like, I have to find, I can't do a reading with a card missing. And anyway, I went to my magical dolphin cards, and I just kind of got the intuition to check it. So I go and I look, and it's the 10 of Wands in there with the prosperity card.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know that that's something pretty neat. So I have the entire deck now. But here's the wands that went missing. So this card actually represents my path right now. Most likely. Because I lost it and found it.
Okay.
But you can see how he's carrying all of those wands.
Yeah, like mine.
Yeah. And look how small the land is. See the houses in the distance?
They got no houses.
Well, he's up high too. They're both they're both standing on a foundation.
Yeah.
Awesome. And this is the one it'll look like. So, the 10 of Wands, the man pictured in the 10 of Wands has ended up with heavy burdens of work and responsibility. Perhaps he should learn to delegate some of the load and refuse worries that are really not his to bear. Just like you went through.
Yeah.
He appears weighted down with back-breaking concerns. Still he perseveres, but some of his plans may not reach fruition. The card indicates oppression and sometimes failure concerning ambitions, often because the seeker has bitten off more than he can chew. I definitely feel like that this week. Enterprises and goals are not completed because of overcommitment on the seeker's part that leaves no time to fulfill them. Warn the seeker of this so that total failure can be avoided. In health readings, we see back, spinal, muscular, skeletal, and sometimes heart problems. Warn the seeker about overextending themselves with worries, pressures, responsibilities, and physical exertion. These circumstances can bring illness. A failure card. Someone else's will could win out over the seeker. Yeah. And you know what? I've been working so hard and my shoulders from typing are in so much pain. And today it was like so chaotic with everybody.
That was me yesterday.
Oh, I can't wait till the full moon.
Attacks.
Sorry?
My daughter called me having panic attacks.
Aww.
And I couldn't let her be.
No, of course not. So reversed, when this is upside down, then it means that the Ten of Wands reversed still carries heavy problems and burdens, but now the seeker could be victimized by someone else's extreme ill will. So that's how you know they're being influenced by someone else, and that's like bondage, you know what I mean? Or that's why we do Angelica root baths.
Mm-hmm.
Another interpretation is that the seeker could be pushing toward an egotistical goal and stepping on others. And you see that in the spiritual business quite a bit right now. It's like the universe will support. The more authentic you are, and the more you're doing what you like, and the more that you are connected to the present moment, the more power we have, and the more the universe supports us. And when people are doing spiritual things for just the money, well, the universe won't bring them business. And I mean, like, why would it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of can see that with some people when they're trying to do things and they just keep hitting that wall. And it's like they're not connecting to the people enough or to their hearts and what their essence or their lessons are about. And that's always about what we're going through in life and our experience right now. But they all think it has to be like supernatural. Or, you know, like so big, and it's not. It's realistic magic in everyday life, right? And just honing the skills. So this card shows, when it's reversed, that somebody is somebody else's energy, or that the ego is in the way, and they're stepping on other people to get what they want. And then if it represents a health card, it does show that there can be a reversal in the position of their health. And that's usually a positive occurrence. So a healing can take place. Okay. So that one's a pretty heavy card. And mine has blonde hair, so it always reminds me of Brett. It's like, oh my God, no. So let's go to the Ten of Cups, a more positive one. And that's what this one looks like. And it really helps because the image is quite accurate in regards to the readings that take place. So you can see there's like a red cottage. Ooh, so they're guarding it on a pillar. That's pretty cool. Look at the snakes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the Ten of Cups represent completion, and it's a happy card. So it's always positive. It's the most significant symbol in the 10 is the rainbow. Does yours have a rainbow?
No.
Okay, so these ones, the ones that you'll see there's a rainbow there. And that would probably represent the pillar in yours.
Yeah.
And it's suggesting promises for tomorrow and protection of the seeker's well-being in the present and the future. This card is one of satisfaction. It is basically a family card, one of harmony and true love, lasting situations, romantic otherwise, blessed with stability and truth that are the rewards indicated. And the 10 of Cups represents wholeness. You know, like that feeling that we're all kind of trying to fulfill, that spiritual carrot that keeps us searching. That is this cup when we have it and it's complete. We found our freedom. So it is a great tranquility that descends over the situation, bringing contentment and fulfillment concerning the seeker's life or question. So if someone asks, am I going to move? That would be a definite yes. And in this card, you can see that how the parents and the children are similar. There's a boy and a girl there. So it's like them, and it could be their future as well as where they came from. It always represents a marriage, partnership, or a union with ingredients to keep it permanent and make it strong and suitable. So when the card is upside down, and the rainbow is now that way, it represents the opposite of completion or satisfaction. And it's seen as being reversed. Now there's an impermanent relationship. And there's discontent. And there's lack of fulfillment. And there's lots of conflict or little quarrels. But often the relationship or project is disintegrating. And so family or marital disagreements can lead to disobedience or defiance. So when that card comes up, you know there's something going on. Upside down. So then you would always ask, remember, whenever we find a reverse, we always ask, how can we change this? Because that's why we're reading the cards, to help us for our path. So then if I have a client and this is reversed, I'll say, okay, we need to see how to break this block. Because that's all it is. And as long as it's a minor arcana card, we can make those changes. But if they are the major arcana, we can't. Because the major arcana represent universal powers, universal laws. And some of those laws people never learn, right? So it's going to get pretty interesting. So yeah, this is an awesome card when it's this way. And for timing, this would represent 10 years. And you would also maybe see 2 10s in a reading. Whenever you see parallel numbers, say you're doing a reading and you see these 2 cards, then you know their path is going to go from 10 of Wands to the 10 of Cups, whichever one is showing in the future. And then it shows you what's happening in between that transformation, or what's occurring for the transformation. So you always want to watch for doubles. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going from emotional journey to a mental journey. Oh no. And you just know you need to rest up and get ready to make the right choices. So it's pretty interesting. So let's go to the look at my 10 of Swords.
I know mine is freaky too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're very similar, hey?
Yeah.
Mine shows, though, a little bit of the sunlight. See the dark black clouds and then the sunlight and ocean?
There's no sunlight on mine.
No. So the picture is dismissal in the Ten of Swords. We finally see the sword stab the character, symbolizing failure and disaster. The sky is black to represent bleakness, but not all hope is lost. Ruin can be unexpected when it occurs in the Last Sword card. This 10 is not always as disastrous as it looks. Plans that do not work out are represented here. These plans can be anything from a vacation to a career. At other times, the failure can be quite complete, bringing loss and defeat in the seeker. Perhaps the seeker is receiving a culmination of previous thoughts and actions. So it is a card of karma. And it's mainly because of the thoughts that led to the actions. So they're reaping the results of a situation that was handled badly. At times the card will simply represent defeat. That was not the result of the seeker's wrongdoing. So sometimes it's like not even their wrongdoing. A battle has been lost. The seeker's plans and projects could fail. Hopes could come to an end and efforts fall short. So it is a warning sign. And it is because of past actions, but it may not be your own either. It could be, someone we're attached to, affecting us. So let's see what it looks like reversed. Well, the one thing that I like in this card is if you look really closely at his hand, he's got the peace sign and the blessing fingers, which shows that there's magic there. Can you see that right in there, right there? So it does show, because of the wand, the sign of the wand, right? So reversed, the negative situation begins to get better. The seeker may have changed his attitude or called upon higher forces for help. So that whenever I see that reverse, I know that the universe has answered their request and that things will get better. The seeker may have changed his attitude, or he or she is no longer relying on his own personal wit, cleverness, and personality to get through rough times. The power of prayer is used to overcome negative influences. A ray of hope brightens the seeker's situation. Perhaps all is not lost and problems begin to go away. So when that card comes up upside down, it's awesome. So we know that both of these upside down are better than when they are right side up. The wands and the swords.
Yeah.
Now the 10 of Pentacles. And in this card, it shows you the spirit world and the mundane world. And in the spirit world, it shows the house and the grandfather spirit, and that the animals and the child can see him, but the adults have no clue. They're just going about their business with all this awesome influence around.
That's almost like mine, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
The adults don't see the kids and the dog.
No. Exactly. Awesome. So the Ten of Pentacles is known as the wealth card. So whenever that comes up, it's awesome. It means stability and money and secure family conditions. And that's what the 10 is about. Completed wealth and the attainment of it. And normally, when we get this card, it represents mastery of money. So we will never be able to fall again. We've learned how to gain it. So it represents conditions are completed. The family suggests generations as well and inheritances. It represents ancestry and the knowledge of ancestry, like your ancestors and their roots and how they were able to obtain what they are trying to bring you. Their wealth and situation is, their wealth and position is obvious, symbolized by the estate and its abundance. Tradition, good lineage, and reputation is important. When this card appears upright, everything is in order, and it represents everything is standing intact. It also represents large companies or corporations, big business coming, and it can also represent government. Government may be places of employment. Or the seeker is dealing with such a place or situation in the Ten of Pentacles. In general, the card is interpreted as firm, well-established, strong conditions. Also, the card suggests security and stability in the matter of the seeker, whatever they're asking about. Situations are being handled in a traditional manner. This card also shows transition from one stage of life into another. This transition can be from single to married, dependent to independent, unemployed to employed. It can even be a change in outcome or income brackets. If it's reversed, we find opposition of security. The reputation of the seeker, his family, or co-workers may be unfavorable or in jeopardy. Family or finances may be unstable. Dealing with big business or government may be difficult, and there may be delays. All financial changes, especially concerning speculation, investing, selling, buying, and dealing. Everything should be avoided because of this unstable economic factor, whether it's personal or national. All financial risks should be avoided. So as soon as that card is upside down, it's just a no. If I got this, should I go to the casino? That was upside down. No. Ugh. And the mastery of all of those tens is the Wheel of Fortune, which we'll get to. And being able to know and understand it to keep it turning in our favor. So let's go to the pages now. So the pages I love. Whoops, I dropped a card, but that's okay. And there's not really much about the pages. Oh, and the other thing you want to do is when you're looking at all of the cards, like the tens we just went to, you want to look at all of their positions. So that was one thing I forgot to cover. So the 10 of Wands actually is moving into the future that way. So it might show reversed for you, but his position is actually moving towards the future. And then the 10 of Cups, the present situation. So they're all looking at the present. They're not looking at the past or future. This one is below because he's face down in the ground. So it's present. And the same with the Ten of Pentacles, that's also present. So there is no past in play, except for in the Ten of Pentacles when it shows the Spirit. There's only present and future in play. And the past representation of the cups is showing us the present, and everything is whole and complete, so there's no healing that needs to take place. So we'll go to the Pentacles now, or the pages now. So the page cards, and mine are all kind of boring, but if you lay them out, you'll see what position they're all standing in again. So in studying the rules for the court cards, because now we're moving into the court cards, we find that the pages can represent people and their characteristics. So with pages, there are definite personality traits that can be applied to the seeker or to the character of someone involved in their readings. If the reading is about a child, then we take the pages as representing that child and his or her disposition. Also in readings for a family question, the pages can indicate a child and the character is either a boy or a girl. So they could be boy or girl. Okay? In readings involving other people, such as co-workers or relationships and so on, the pages refer to their characteristic, the character of the person involved, or their qualities the person may be expressing. So for example, the Page of Wands in a reading about is about a social club could indicate a full steam ahead daring attitude of club members. Or the Page of Swords appearing in a reading about work and co-workers could indicate applying the qualities of diplomacy or challenges. So they can all have their attitude. And when they have, if they're an adult and the page represents them, it always represents some kind of unexpected change that's occurring. And the characteristic of the attitude is childlike. There's immaturity showing. So if I ask a question for myself and I get a page, then I know that, I gotta adjust my thinking. I'm immature in my thinking. So we'll start with a Page of Wands. And mine has a lucky hat. It's got a feather on his hat. And look at the 3 pyramids.
I have wavy mountains in the back.
Isn't that weird? You would think that because it's an Egyptian deck, it would have the pyramids.
Yeah, I know.
That's odd, but it's cool. He's pretty muscular page. Mine's mine's pretty, mine looks young.
None of mine wear shirts.
No, yours are showing off. They didn't have shirts back then. I don't think they had shirts back then.
No, I don't know.
So the Page of Wands has the qualities in all of the Wands people. So all of the 10 Wands that we went through, put all of those cards into one being. So all of those qualities are in this page. And it also represents their enthusiasm, their energy, their personality, their giving, they're competitive, they're very ambitious and courageous. So this page takes chances and is quite attractive and intelligent. Such people love appearing in the limelight and expressing their natural leadership abilities. So whenever the page comes up, I always know that there's some kind of idea that's really good that they should act on that can benefit their future. And that idea comes from that cap he's wearing, because it represents following the guidance. So the fire colors indicate that the fire signs of Aries. So this card represents Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So when this card comes up, you can say, do you have a Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius in your life? Because this would represent them. And if they don't have that, then you know that this is representing their characteristic or something that is going to come to them. Now, the good thing about the pages is they always represent some kind of new adventure coming into their life that is unexpected and comes from an outside force. It is not created by them. So they're reaching a threshold where they're given a foundation from the universe that's going to lead them in potential purposeful growth if they follow that energy that's taking them. So they always represent some kind of new beginning. So this, because it's wands, it represents moving into the future. So the youth belongs to the suit of fire. He or she is ambitious and capable of great courage, energy, and leadership. Either children or adults. They can additionally be described as competitive, ambitious, impulsive, innovative, and needing to be the center of attention. They can be performing, coaching, they could be athletics. They like different things. They want to start a business. They could be in politics. But normally when this card comes up, you know that they're just enterprising. They want to begin something new, and it's usually could lead to career, what they should be doing. So when the page comes up, the message is that you want to encourage them. When it's an upright position, they're going to receive some kind of phone call, email, message, letter, or word of mouth. And that's how that new adventure comes. If they're asking about some kind of event, then it represents that there is great energy in it. If they're trying to start a new business, the determination is behind them. It's going to be easy. And that's why I always remember the lucky hat on this one. That they got the great idea and that was given to them by the universe, and it's working. So let's go to, reversed. Did we do it reversed? No, we didn't. Okay, that's when it'll look like reversed. So the Page of Wands reversed will do just about anything to get attention. Sometimes they find they'll be disruptive, or they will try to step on someone's toes or sabotage people, but they feel like they need to take and steal. So it's an imbalanced energy that leads them to misfortune. And the balance needs to be noticed, or they drive the individual to stoop to unethical or theatrical means. The character becomes dangerous even. They exaggerate, they can be jealous, they're very controlling and really sharp. And the individual over-dramatizes. So if the Page of Wands is reversed, then it shows that that's the qualities that are in play. Especially if it's next to a Knight or a King card. Then it represents a man acting like a child. Same with the woman, I guess, too. But they usually show up with the men on this one. So it represents also brokenheartedness. So sometimes when this card comes in, if this is the first card in the reading, like their significator, then they've had a broken heart. And that's why, and this reading could become emotional for them. But in messages, it represents unfavorable news or upsetting information. So reversed, it's always like not good. The universe isn't supporting their idea. Something needs to shift. So then you can say, well, why? Well, maybe it's because they're trying to take someone else's idea, right? And the universe won't support that. So intentions, again, reversed. They're immature in the wrong way. However, my card is very blue, so whenever it shows up, it's always positive unless it is reversed. And that's the one thing that's quite easy with the Rider-Waite cards, is the background colors will tell you where the outcome is going, because you'll get yellow background, blue. This one that we're doing now, the Cup card, is gray. So because it's a gray card, it shows that the conditions and the attitude and the results that are coming could be positive or negative. It's not manifested yet. That's still in play. I love it when it's gray. And then you can see where it goes and it'll be like, whoa, don't make that choice. And you tell them. You don't want to make, a choice that's going to, you'll be able to see what it means with the other cards.
Yeah, that's why I can't wait to get the other cards.
I know. Well, you should have them by next class for sure.
Yeah.
So the Page of Cups represents the astrological water elements of Cancer, Scorpio, and also Pisces. So there's a flowing, magnetic, soothing, and responsive nature about it. The connection is easily made to the emotional and feeling concepts associated with the Cups people. So all of the Cups up until 10 are within this energy. That's the foundation. And now these feelings are easily made into emotional and feeling concepts, such as love and emotions, flowing energy, there's comfort, lots of attraction, like a magnetic attraction with the law of attraction. So not just attracting people, but what your heart's desire. And also the response and how you respond to things in life are very connected to your heart and your expression. So there's a lot of healing in what this person is becoming. So water is also strongly associated with the Page of Cups. And you'll see the young youth is garbed in the colors of the sea, blue and green, and water rolls behind him or her as we discover a sea creature, a fish. So you'll see on this one, you can see the fish coming out of the cup at them. Awesome. Okay, so yours has that.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. So it also represents, there is the sea creature emerging from the chalice. So the qualities and characters in both the children and the adults in this card represents that the people are they're empathetic, they're sensitive, they're imaginative, they're probably creative and artistic, or they have writing skills. They're loving, they're kind, and they're very intuitive. So whenever the Page of Cups comes in, it represents that something that was hidden from the seeker's life that is now coming into life so that they can experience what they have not experienced before. And that this cup and the universe, which represents the spirits of the past, because it's a cup, represents what that person needs to have as part of their wholeness. Okay? So that's pretty exciting when that card comes up. I love it. So the qualities are always positive, and it represents some kind of profession that has to do with training people, healing people, classes, that sort of thing. The Page of Cups can represent an idea or a creative thought or dreams that the seeker is contemplating. And that's what the fish represents, is the actual dreams and knowledge that are coming from spirit. So when this card comes up, I always know I need to pay attention to my sleep, or at least get enough sleep to try to get a dream. It's an inspirational or psychic message, and it can be indicated as the page as well as the birth or marriage card. So it's a good announcement. And that's how the Page of Cups represents and manifests itself as the new circumstance, through some kind of announcement. So reversed, this person requires discipline. They are in their talents. So they may be living in a world of their own, running away from reality. They may be involved with alcohol or drugs, or they're escaping activities and real life in general. The page may drop out of society and become reclusive, rather than coping with friends and family or having a social life. They fear rejection, and these people are growing insecure. So they may also indulge in dreaming or wasting time. They become lazy and irresponsible. Their talents aren't being used. This page can indicate a lovable but easily spoiled person who expects too much from others. So the Page of Cups may be receiving intuitive or inspiration messages, but they're not listening to them. So this is a card of ignoring the intuition when it's upside down. And this also has, if this card comes up and that person's been locked in that for some time, say you have the Knight and the King reversed, then you know their heart is pretty closed off. There's not too much emotion there. So the Page of Swords. So notice how the Page of Swords is battling the air. Oh, you got the birds and everything. Perfect. So very close indeed. So the air sign comes in that represents Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And their intellectual and their qualities that are accumulated in all of the swords. So quite the character. And actually has been through a lot of mental changes and different comprehensions. So it represents action, is equally important to these people, and often they will enjoy games and interests that combine mental alertness as well as strength. So they like physical things. They like swimming, gymnastics, karate, like anything that has to do with some kind of sport. It also shows that the wind is blowing when the person is standing against the wind. So that means that they still are not listening to their intuition, and they're holding their own control and strength. Now that could be a good thing or a positive thing, because sometimes we have to hold our ground and strength. So if this is a card that represents work, then you know that they're probably quite stressed out and taking a lot on at work. If it has to do with a heart, and this card comes up, then you know they're blocking their heart and their emotions. So it's a headstrong person, and they're not connected to their heart, but they know what they want. Okay? So whenever these cards come up, it could be a challenging person, and it also represents changing circumstances. And it's because of an unpredictable situation. So whenever this comes up, something unpredictable is going to happen. But it can also be a very exciting card. And if it's with other positive cards and you just see good cards around it, then you know it's just they need to take it. They need to take it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This isn't going to come again. So the breeze can be a hinder, or it could be a motion that's helping the mental abilities make the right choice. Either way, it signifies some kind of choice or a situation that they have to take. A lot of times this represents communication, It has to do with science or engineering that can be involved. Technical things are the person if they're looking for career. And it also represents an attitude in space or traveling, as well as taking control and doing what they actually want. So they need activity and challenges to overcome. Sometimes this represents having more than one occupation as well. And these people may be looking for something new and stimulating. So when this comes up, something new and stimulating is coming unexpectedly. Again, it's something that's coming from the outside source. If it represents a child, then they're very strong, maybe stubborn. And they have some walls up, and they're just, they're intellectual, so they should go outside for walks, and that would help ease them. The card can also represent a message, unexpected news, and the event of spying. So whenever this card comes up, someone's watching. It could be, okay? And again, it can be a he or she. Now, if this is upside down, then it represents the person becoming too sharp and they're becoming cruel. So this card always shows an abusive behavior that's in play that is trying to cause manipulation. So there's something suspicious going on and they're starting to be accusing. So when you have the sign of someone, you would know because that person would start accusing and have that attitude. It also represents they're purely mental, so they don't believe anything, and they're questioning everything. It can also show where circumstances where the true identity of a person or situation is exposed, or the seeker will see a person or situation as they truly are. Character qualities, when it's reversed, can be sarcasm and being unpredictable. But both upright and reversed, it represents unexpected news of something that can be challenging. Advise the seeker to be prepared, and then we want to take a look at what it is. And normally, this comes because of someone else, or they made some kind of bad decision. And it could be also part of the outcome of how they handled all 10 of those other swords, because some of those swords were tests, right? So now we have the Page of Pentacles, which I love. The Page of Pentacles is very bright in my deck here, and it's a positive card. And this Page of Pentacles is actually standing towards the future. So it's moving into the future. Where the Page of Swords, they're looking at the past, so you know that a lot of this energy of the swords that we just discussed has to do with past results. The birds represent the chaotic nature that happened. That's why in the swords, the Page of Swords, there's birds. They're all like,
okay,
yeah, chaotic. And that's one of the signs of the ravens. If there's a whole bunch of them and they're making lots of noise and flying around, they're fighting something negative.
Once there was a murder of crows that went by here, and I thought of Alfred Hitchcock. I ran so fast, I had a red fluorescent jacket on, I ripped it off, I thought they would catch me. And I ran into the house so fast and watched them. There must have been about 100.
Get out! Wow! Were they loud?
It was so loud I could hear it coming from miles away.
Well, then that's definitely they were fighting some kind of spiritual warfare.
But I never seen it before, and I never seen it after.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the Page of Pentacles is a yellow card, so you know it's always bright. And it represents the sign and people of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorns. So if there is not one of those in their life, then this would represent their characteristic. And that's the same with all of them. So it represents everything all of the things that they have attained from the last 10 pentacles. And these people are very close to the earth. They're nature loving, they're grounded, they believe in duty and practical achievements. They love their material wealth, and not in an egotistical way, in an honorable way. Oh, now I have two spirits here. There's one in the turtle shell.
Yeah.
And then one in the bedroom.
I keep watching the one in the bedroom there for a while.
Yeah.
My eyes keep shifting over there.
And you can see how pixelated it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then sometimes I see like it's a complete circle.
I know. It's wild. That's cool. You got my attention there. So it represents nature loving. They believe in creating their wealth and their dream and having the freedom of the finances. So it's not in an egotistical way, but it's in their wholeness way. And they're always quiet and reflective, and they're contemplative. Perhaps they're still running deep with their experiences, they hold their experiences with pride because they've learned how to master the game of life, really. So possessions are worked for, and they're cherished. Their goals are realistic. They're hard won. Earth colors of brown and greens are worn by the page. Flowers bloom in the field, which represent great harvest. And it represents a continuity of this harvest. So open-mindedness, they have a heart that will listen to other people's emotions and way of life. So they're very balanced that way. But when it comes up as a career card, it always represents some kind of course or something that they want to learn that's new. And it can also represent the purchasing of property. So a lot of times when I'm reading adults and this comes up, I know that they're either going to buy or sell property, and that this is a new venture for them, or that they have it on their mind. So it shows that there is something that they want to learn from their freedom and just have that. It also represents that their lesson is learned in all things that is regarded to money, but they just want to do something big. Whenever this comes up, it means that they want to do something they've never done before, but it was a dream. And should they do it? Should they move? Should they go to Europe? You know, that type of thing. Okay, should they buy a house? Or go into some kind of farming too. A lot of times this comes up and I know that they already own property as well. So it's a positive card, moving in the right direction and using their finances wisely so that that continuation of money can go on for generations. Just like the 10, but it's actually in the bank and heading in the bank. When it's reversed, then it represents a rebellious isolation energy that is self-imposed. There's misunderstanding, there's carelessness, there's extravagance, there's self-pity. Another negative character trait is that they have the inability to learn from others or even from personal experiences and mistakes. Other traits can be qualified as they're not compromising, and they won't compromise, or they feel like the world is against them. This position also shows learning problems or rebellion against parents or authorities in education. So informative messages may be discarded or ignored. So it represents some kind of rebellious energy. And that could be adults or children, remember. So those are the pages. What do you think of them?
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the Knight cards, do you want to do a little bit more?
Okay.
We can do, let's do 2 of the Knights.
Okay.
And then we can implement those in the reading. So we'll do the Knight of Wands and we'll do the Knight of Cups. So the Knights are very important in the tarot. They represent the significant energy of the minor arcanas. They're not as confusing as the pages because they always represent people in the reading, where the other ones will represent a character trait that's in play. So the Knights are always people, and they're always men, and they're between ages and 35 years, 18 and early, I can't talk, between the ages of 18 and 35 years old. So if they're above 35, they'll show up as a king, okay? So when these cards are coming in, it always represents an adolescent who is mature for his age, so they're on the right path. They always represent an adolescent or somebody that's coming in. So let's go to the Knight of Wands, and you'll see the direction. So the Knight of Wands is going backwards into the past. So the fiery colors of the Knight of Wands indicates his personality and temperament. And let me show you mine. It's all red. And you can even see the salamanders on his outfit. Oh, yours is on a boat.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why I can't wait to get your cards.
I know. So whenever this comes up as a person, they are most likely got some red in their hair. It could be strawberry blonde.
This one's red.
Okay, see? So that works.
Yeah.
So red hair, and I always remember from the helmet on mine, you can see his feathers are all red. Mm-hmm. So it always represents a redhead. Or someone that when the sun hits it, there's a little tinge of red. So they represent, their personality is very temperamental. Their character is one of truth and impulse. Outspoken and competitive, ambitious and courageous, he enters a room and makes a definite impression, for he always lets the world know he's arrived. Having strong opinions, he may be easy to argue with, for he enjoys heated discussions and the challenge of winning. You may love him and you may hate him at the same time, but you can never ignore this knight and his enthusiasm and his joy of life. So he's very spontaneous. The character is open. What was that? The character was open, demonstrative, enjoys people, and is probably in a people profession. So he could be some kind of leader or speaker or motivator. It represents they have sport-minded abilities, so they like to train. So they definitely want to influence people. But they're also outgoing, blunt, humorous, and warm. He's an individualist and a creative thinker. When the seeker's question does not refer to others, the knight can simply represent a very important message or matter emerging in the seeker's life. So if it's not a male and there's no other wands coming in and this is the only one in the reading, then you know, okay, this is a message that's coming into your life. There's an important matter on its way. And because it does have to do with him looking at the past, it is something that's catching up to their path. So there is a past influence. When this is reversed, then it always represents the person is selfish, they're impulsive, They're argumentative, they're bossy, they're jealous, they're domineering, they're temperamental, and they could possibly be violent. But only if other violent cards come up. Otherwise, it represents their temperament. He can be very competitive, in addition to being given the abusive, egotistical rages. If the question is about event or job, there's problems. So whenever this is, am I going to get the job, or I went for an interview? That would be a no. Okay? And it also shows that there's unsteady employment and disruptions and unstable circumstances that are at work. So again, if you see it reversed and it's something that they're going through and it's not a person, you can say, okay, let's see what you can do. But usually, if this represents the person sitting down in front of you, I just flat out tell them that this energy is around them, and they may have these qualities and may snap at times, and that needs to be controlled. Let's see what's influencing you and why you're carrying this. Because it's coming up to help them, right? And we want to turn it upside down or revert, like bring it back up. Okay? So whenever that's reversed again, it's a warning. And it's either that person you're sitting with or someone involved with them. Now, if it was them, there would be a lot more wands in play in their reading. And if it's someone else, then there would be very few. And it would just show up as the same person. Okay? And it could be even someone from the past. If this is reversed, it could be the influence they're still carrying from someone. But it would show up in the last two cards. So the Knight of Cups, let's do. So the Knight of Cups, I love. And this is a blue card, so it can be a positive outcome too. Like the matter that's coming to them is meant to be a positive influence. So the Knight of Cups, the knight in the perfect man. And there's the blue card, and look at his wings on his helmet. And this guy in the card is walking into the future. So he's moving into the future. So the Knight of Cups is dressed in shades of blue, showing off his water element. He's more passive and reserved than the Knight of Wands. He is being receptive in nature. He's emotional, he's intuitive, he may enjoy delving into philosophy and psychology. He often helps people, and because of his sensitivity, he's attuned to their needs. He often helps people because he often helps people, and because of his sensitivity and is attuned to his needs, he has affinity for animals, plants, nature, and the less fortunate. So he likes to help people. He dreams of a perfect world and may vow to do something to help realize his dream. So he's living with purpose. He must do what he believes in. And that's whether it's emotional, material, or ambitious. So this guy is moving forward with purpose. The Knight of Cups is sensitive, idealistic, dreamy, caring, and loving. Frequently, he's a charmer and he knows it. He is usually involved with music, or he likes to dance. He may be artistic, and he cares for the environment. He is also spiritual in nature. This card shows qualities of kindness, romance, and intelligence. If the reading is of an event, then this is an emotional or romantic event. So a lot of times this will come in as an engagement card. Okay, especially if you had it with the Two of Cups or the Four of Wands. So reversed, the Knight of Cups loses his sincerity and becomes deceptive. towards himself and others, mainly the people he cares about. He escapes the world. He prefers his dreams to reality. The lovingness, art, and sensitivity toward humanity remains unused and unexpressed. He is emotionally immature and unreliable. No one should believe anything he says, for he is known to say what he thinks a person wants to hear, so that the person will do what he wants. So he's seductive. This card shows an escapist, unwilling to face reality or responsibilities, especially emotionally. If it's an event, this represents a deception or lies. So whenever it comes up upside down in my readings, I know there's some kind of deception or lies going on. And then you can say who or what. Maybe it's myself, or maybe it's something that I'm being lied about. Pretty interesting, hey?
Yeah.
So let's do you have those cards still? The 10s, the pages, and those 2 knights?
Yes.
Let's pull 3 cards for this week and see what we get. So we're going to pick 3 cards from what we did, and I'm going to post a picture of what I'm going to describe after we do this. So you have done 3 card draws, right? You're doing past,
Yeah.
present, future, and also 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, and 6 to 12 months.
I do the 3 cards.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the other thing you can do with the 3 cards is the first card that you laid down, if you wanted to know how is my finances going to be this year, or you wanted to know about something for a year, you can use 3 cards. And the first one will be 0 to 3 months from now. The middle one will represent 3 to 6 months. And then the last one is 6 to 12 months. And so try doing that and see what comes up with different topics. Okay? Yeah, you can close that now. So did you pull 3 cards?
Yes.
Okay, so these first 3 cards are going to also represent the first 3 cards in the Celtic Cross. So I want you to put 2 of them beside each other. So we're going to put 2 beside each other, and then 1 is going to go sideways underneath them. So it'll look like this. There's those 2 side by side, and then 1 like that.
On the bottom or underneath it?
Right underneath it.
Okay.
So flip over your first one. So when you flip over that first card you laid down, and you want that to be the bottom card, right? The first card you picked.
Okay, I gotta do it over again.
Okay. Are you going to shuffle them back up?
Yeah.
Okay, so shuffle them back up, and then when you pick the cards, make sure you put them one on top of the other.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to do it too. So you pick out, and we're not working with very many cards right now, but pick out the 3. So the first one is the second and third. So you have them all on top of each other, right?
You put the first one sideways?
Yeah, but wait, do you have your group of 3? You
Yeah.
take the bottom one, and then that's your first card. And then the middle card is the second card, and the top card you picked is the one that goes bottom and sideways.
Okay.
So when you flip over your first card, that represents you right now. Or if you were doing a reading for someone, that's their present position. That's how they walked into your place in the Celtic Cross. So what card did you get? And this is going to be for the next week.
The Knight of Staff.
So the Knight of Wands. Okay. So there is going to be some kind of news coming your way. It is going to have to do with something positive that's going to benefit you. But you may have to deal with someone's attitude. So it's either going to be a male's attitude, or it's going to be something that is going to help you move forward from the past. Okay? But because it represents you, it's going to be something that's going to help you move forward from the past. So expect something to come in that you're going to say, nope, you're going to keep your hold and the energy that you want. You have to honor that right now for your future. Which means that because you're doing it, there is something that has to do with you and the future, what you should be doing. And that's why you're holding that space. So that's pretty good, right?
Right.
So now flip the one beside it.
Oh, God.
So when we do the reading, that first card we did, your Knight of Wands, represents you right now, but also you for what you're dealing with in the next 30 days. So that's the first month. Okay? And because it is a Knight of Wands, you know that the energy you're dealing with is masculine. Okay? And that could be your own masculine energy, just, putting things in play for your foundation. So what was the second card you picked?
The Ten of Swords.
Oh my gosh. So there's the completion, right? So something comes in to help you complete. So the Ten of Swords shows the completion of something you no longer need and that you're not going to be dealing with. That you can enjoy some peace. And that a lot of the mental activity that you're dealing with is going to be done. So you will feel peace of mind. And when you look at that second card, that's a 2-month influence. And because it is a Ten of Swords, that is also something that you'll want to focus on in those 2 months, is making sure that you're keeping your peace.
Mm-hmm.
You're not over-sacrificing.
See, next month is the anniversary, is my wedding anniversary. And my husband's been dead for 5 years now.
Wow.
And I've never been able to accept it. This month I've been saying I'm going to accept it this month.
Wow. That gave me chills. So the universe is guiding you towards that.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow you to heal and have the life that you're meant to have. And that's the thing, as spirit warriors, we're always on our path, but we can stop whenever we want.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually we have to move forward. And the reason why you're able to move forward is because you do have a connection, and you will have a stronger connection as you move forward. Right? So that's pretty incredible. So mentally, you're going to find some freedom there. Big time. How is your sleep? Has your sleeping been changing?
I have to meditate to sleep. I have to meditate to go to sleep, to fall asleep there. I have to meditate with the TV there, with a talk you down sleep meditation, or.
Okay. Well, that's good. Then at least you found something that works.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now just start asking a question before you go to bed of something you want to know.
I do. I even put the spirit oil, spirit guide oil on my temples and on my pulse.
Awesome.
Go to bed at night.
Good. That's awesome. So for this, and these 2 cards are for this week. So don't think that this is your reading for like what we're doing. This is only for this week. So this would represent the today, like the first card would be today and what you kind of dealt with. And then the next 2, the second card is going to represent 2 to 3 days and where you're headed. And that represents a completion. What was your third card?
The 10 of Cups.
Oh, I got that too.
Yeah.
So that represents the influence and how we're being influenced in our world right now. And that shows that you have a very positive influence this week. And it is not just about completion, but about feeling good. So, yeah, there's something good in play. This week, you'll get to feel that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, but in the reading, we won't, the one that's sideways, your 10 of Cups, we don't read that as one of the months of the year. Because it's strictly the influence that is kind of like swirling around us that's making this happen.
Okay.
And sometimes the influence could be negative. And that shows us that it's not so much them, but the spirit and the atmosphere that is around them. Right? A lot of times the devil will show up there. And you're like, oh my gosh, you need to cleanse like your house, everything. There's some kind of bondage in play. So the influence is pretty neat. So practice doing these 3 cards. The present, the next 2 months, and then the influence that's surrounding them.
Yeah.
And we'll do that for the next week. And I'll post a picture on the tarot one, so that you can see it drawn out. Okay? And then next class, we're doing Queens and Kings. And then we're going to add the other part of the cross.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. And I will see you tomorrow at noon.
Yeah. I just need a link.
Yes, I'll send it to you right now. And then make sure you have a whole page of everything you want to know. Like, let the questions just fly.
Okay.
But at first, I'm just going to read you what the spirit, how the spirit is influencing you and what they want to say and what they see happening in next year. And then after that, you can ask anything you want. But at first, just let me go with it.
I will.
Awesome. I can't wait. Make sure you have a drink. And we'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
I'll get Brett to transfer this or change it and then send it to you. So you have a copy of this. Good night.
Good night.